We are live on a Monday with a lot of news. What is going on with the American Dragon, one of the best pro wrestlers in the world, is a big question mark for this Sunday's AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Will Danielson be able to go? How serious is this injury that's keeping him on the shelf since AEW's last pay-per-view? Saraya Knight, you know her in WWE as Paige, she has announced a return to a pro wrestling event. Doesn't mean exactly she's going to be back in the ring, but we're going to find out more in the next few weeks as she returns to the UK. More legal troubles for WWE's Vince McMahon and former XFL commissioner Oliver Luck. What is going on with that legal issue and how it's a positive? SmackDown ratings took a big increase with the Vinnie Mac effect following the controversy and scandal from last week, and much, much more. The sad passing, unfortunately, of WWE referee Tim White. We'll get into all of it, plus your comments on screen. Share that link or you stink.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Watch out!
Watch out!
What's up, everybody? Hey, I'm Kellam. That is Jose G. Jeremy Bennett on assignment in Nebraska at Monday Night Raw. He may join us here any minute. Love seeing people say, watch out, watch out, watch out, wherever they are. All right, there we go. Jeremy's with us. Let's see if we can get Jeremy to give us a word here.
What's up, boy?
How you doing, Jeremy? I'm going to pitch to you. We got Monday Night Raw tonight. What are you expecting?
Well, first off, we got a big Money in the Bank qualified match here with Asuka and Becky Lynch. And, hey, are you ready to walk with Elias?
Ooh.
Oh, no, the question is, are you ready to walk with Elias? Because you're going to be in arena, by the stage. Are you waiting to feel a little bit of bead of sweat from Elias's beard?
What?
Right in the face?
What?
Give us a full beer chug. Full beer chug, Jeremy.
Oh, man, it's Monday. I got to work at 7:30 in the morning. I don't know about that, boys. Sorry for the audio issues before. I found out it was a setting in StreamYard. I had noise cancellation and something with, I don't know, but I just had to put it on speakerphones. That was the issue. So now I finally can hear you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the Cube, which is basically the kind of a little bar district here by the arena. The arena, you can see it in the background right there. So had myself a Jameson.
Oh.
Nice.
What?
Starting off hot on a Monday afternoon.
I got one Jameson in. What? And
What?
I got myself a Stella right here. So
there you go. Going from beer to liquor. There you go. Some big news to get into today with the unfortunate news of Bryan Danielson. He has suffered some undisclosed injury, the severity of which we don't know. He has not been seen on AEW television since Double or Nothing, when he competed in the Anarchy in the Arena match with the Blackpool Fight Club against the group of, Jericho's group, the Jericho Appreciation Society. So he was pretty physical in that match. We don't know how much he's hurt, but with him, it's a little bit more worrisome, isn't it, Jose? Because this is a guy who was on the shelf for years with injuries and had to retire at one point. We thought would never wrestle again due to concussions.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Back in 2016, when he had that scary announcement that nobody was clearing him and he was forced into retirement, that was a big issue. So anytime when we hear any type of news relating to Bryan Danielson and a potential injury, it could be it could be alarming. But today we're getting some reports and an update from good old Uncle Dave. Shout out to Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer. And basically he's stating that as of yet, the Blackpool Combat Club member is yet to be medically cleared as of last week's Dynamite. And then he is Meltzer speculating that if we don't see Bryan this Wednesday, he is unlikely to be at the Forbidden Door. There's been a lot of speculation of him facing Zack Sabre Jr. at the Forbidden Door. But right now with this injury being unclear, everything's kind of up in the air until we get some information on Wednesday.
yeah, I mean, the original prognosis was it was only supposed to be 1 to 2 weeks, and we're past that point now and we haven't seen them, so it is kind of concerning, especially since they're saying he's not medically clear at this point. So that is going to be a huge void if Bryan Danielson cannot be at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view.
And different fans chiming in. David from the Barclays Center saying the rules are different for Bryan now. He has a marriage and multitude of children, not taking any half measures with his health. That is good. Yeah, that's true. I agree. He's
good point. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's had more than just the concussion issue, the eye issue. He had problems with his shoulder. He had problems with the knee. This guy's wrestled a very, very hard style for a long time.
You guys able to hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you solid.
Perfect. It's my first time going live on Top Stories, so it's going to be sad because that is kind of one of the dream matches that you put on the paper is basically Danielson and name any top guy in New Japan. Obviously, Zack Sabre Jr. is one of those guys, and so if that can't happen, it's really going to put a huge void in it. But at the same time, man, that card is still stacked.
The card is stacked, but I can say this as someone who's going to the show. I don't feel the excitement for this show that I felt for Double or Nothing. I don't feel the excitement for the show on paper. I want it to be what it's supposed to be, but the injury bug is real. CM Punk, who's the biggest pro wrestler you could put on an arena show in Chicago right now, isn't going to be there. If he is, he's not going to be wrestling. We know that. And now you look at Bryan Danielson, isn't going to be there. Also, Okada, the biggest star you could get from New Japan, even though he just dropped that title, he's not going to be on the show. There's so many missing pieces that haven't been announced for this card. And, people are talking about, they're going to get Kenny Omega back. They haven't advertised it. We simply don't know if that's going to happen. There's a lot of missing stuff on this card that fans were expecting, wanted, and haven't gotten yet. Now, I don't put that on AEW because these injuries are real. Most of these are just injury-related situations. And then some guys who simply just don't want to come to the United States or don't want to do that, and you have a bunch of multi-man matches here. We don't know who Jay White's going to defend the New Japan World title, the IWGP. We know he's going to be involved in the card in some way, but we don't know who he's going to have a match with. We're going to hopefully find that out this Wednesday on Dynamite. There's just a lot to be done with this card, and I think maybe it was just a little bit too close to Double or Nothing for them to have that sense of storyline completion before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, and hold on, let me take him off of mute.
Well, I think Dave Meltzer said it best though, that this is not a casual fans pay-per-view. This is a very niche
hardcore
market for this, of people that it's going to be the hardcore fan that's going to be the ones that are excited about this.
I understand that, but I don't see enough of those matches that even hardcore fans are like raving about. This was supposed to be a match made of dream matches, big one-on-one world versus world dream matches. And we have one. We have Tanahashi versus Moxley, and I do think that's going to be a great match. Also, I think the show is going to be really, really good, but on paper, it just doesn't shout, wow, it's a Tokyo Dome show in the United States. It doesn't have the sense of magic that it had when it was announced, and people were super excited about it then. Do I think it can be a show that exceeds kind of these now lowered expectations? Yes. And that's something we were told a little while ago. Rumblings from backstage, people were like, you're not going to get these big dream matches you think you're going to get. And now we're seeing the card come together. It's got some good stuff on it, but Tucker Carlson's huge balls. What a name here. Tucker says here, Tucky Ball says, no Okada, no Naito, no Hiromu, no Shingo, no Juice. Where is the big New Japan stars? There are a bunch of big New Japan names on it, but there are a bunch of names that you're not seeing, especially Naito and your big single stars. You're not seeing
the big guys. No Okada, no Naito, no Shibata. So we don't have any of those big names coming up here at the Forbidden Door. And if you don't have Bryan Danielson on that card, I think personally that might take away from the event.
I think Okada is going to be there. Otherwise, I don't think they would have mentioned him by name on.
I agree too, but why wait this long to advertise him?
Good point.
You know what I mean? It's a pay-per-view. You're asking people to
comes out on Wednesday.
On it.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because you should have had him way ahead of time. Because Okada in the United States on a pay-per-view is must-see television. So they obviously, unless they hadn't had him locked in by now, but I don't know why they would have mentioned him by name if he's not going to be on the show.
Exactly. That's and you had Jay White saying Okada's not going to be there, and I don't think I agree with you. Why mention him so much, then say he's not going to be there? Now wait until this week to promote it. It just seems odd. SP3, our buddy over at True Hill Heat, you can check him out Friday nights on Smack Talk, doing some great content with us as well.
All right.
SP3 saying Tony Khan announced Bryan Danielson will be on Dynamite this Wednesday, so he will be out the Forbidden Door. So that's very good news. Thank you for the update there.
That
SP3.
is great.
I appreciate it. So very, very good stuff to hear about as well. So I'm rooting for it. I do think the show's going to be good. It's a sold-out show. So you have a packed arena in Chicago, a hot wrestling city, just a few weeks removed from Hell in a Cell. Let's get to this news. Paige announced a few weeks ago that she would end her relationship professionally with WWE and has announced her first post-WWE appearance for her hometown promotion, the one ran by her family, the Knight family over in the UK. She'll be a part of the Fightmare 4 card coming up here in October. It isn't clear if she's going to be wrestling on this, but she says, I'm back home, being advertised as Saraya, which is, her original ring name and her honest real name, So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think it'd be a real boom for the UK European wrestling scene to have a big WWE star who has a deep emotional connection to the region to really ramp up some stuff out there. I'm talking ICW, I'm talking Progress. If WWE sees that she can go here, all right, come on back and let's get you going here. Let's you tested it somewhere else. You tested that neck somewhere else. If she's gonna get in the ring, what's it gonna be like? Is it gonna be the same style? Is she even gonna wrestle? Is she gonna be more of a personality and draw them that way? And she can still do that. There'll be fans who buy tickets just to see her and say hi and get pictures and stuff like that. That's still a very healthy career to have, post in-ring competitor. But what's next for her, Jose?
Man, well, right now what we know is that she will be making her debut on October 15th, or making a return on October 15th at the Norfolk Showground. But this is very interesting because I don't know exactly what she's going to be doing. Is she going to do a match? Is she going to be just there to hype up the actual promotion? But going to the report, as far as the booking here, Fightful is reporting that the World Association of Wrestling in the UK announced that Frightmare on October 14th will be going down. So, man, I think this is going to be cool for her to come back to the UK. She has a huge fan base over there, and it'll just be nice to see her have a little homecoming. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, this is in October, so we still have about 4 months to figure out what she's going to do. And maybe that gives her time to figure out if she can go in the ring. It'll be very interesting to see. Then going forward from there, if she can go, look out, because sky's the limit, especially with how good the indies are nowadays. And you got Impact Wrestling that is killing it lately. Had a great pay-per-view last night.
Oh my God, that pay-per-view was amazing last night.
And of course, obviously AEW. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this. I really hope that she does get cleared and returns to the ring, because this is a career that was cut way too short.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things when we're looking at Paige is that neck injury, right? So we want to make sure that she's healthy before she gets into that ring. But yeah, it's definitely going to be very intriguing over this next few months.
If it looks like I'm sweating, it is because I am, because it's 97 degrees right now.
All right, dude. Don't worry. Get glazed. Maybe get glazed out there.
I need another beer. What?
So that's the news on Paige. It's a positive one. And we're looking at some slightly positive news for Vince McMahon this past week. Positive news for Vince McMahon. I know. One of the biggest wrestling stories of the year is that Vince McMahon is under a pending investigation internally by WWE, which they brought in a third party to investigate the company's executive culture structure and a kind of a litany of non-disclosure agreements that have been signed. Who those non-disclosure agreements are tied to isn't clear, but also under investigation is Vince McMahon himself for reported money that he paid to a former employee related to not disclosing an affair that they had. John Laurinaitis, the head of talent relations, also under investigation in the same one here. Now, why are we showing a graphic here of Oliver Luck, a former NFL professional and an official and executive, and Vince McMahon there? Well, Oliver Luck at one point was brought in to be the commissioner of the then defunct, now soon to be rebooted yet again, XFL. The new one will be ran by a conglomerate of different investors, led by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his ex-wife, the manager of his $7 production company. That league will also still have a minority interest in it, with WWE involved in some business as well. So here's the issue. Oliver Luck put a big lawsuit against Vince McMahon in the XFL when he was kind of, let go, and then the league fell apart, and the terms of how that was done and what he's owed. So it looked like this was going to be another big legal fight that was just there in terms of, WWE gets sued all the time. I know people are bringing this up now, but you're just seeing it published more. And those things have been, I remember when I worked at a different wrestling website, like every other month, we would have a press release sent to us by a different law firm that said we would like attention for this lawsuit and we will do interviews for it. And there was stuff we were getting like that, like once every 4 or 5 months or something like that. So with this situation, it's different though, because it seems like this legal issue has been settled before a trial could start. What's the latest on it?
Yeah, man. So Sports Business Journal is reporting that the former XFL commissioner Oliver Luck and former league owner Vince McMahon have reached a settlement in their acrimonious legal battle over roughly $24 million in compensation Luck said he was due after McMahon fired him in April of 2020. The terms are unknown. The settlement was referred into a filing by Luck's attorney Paul Dabrowski on Friday, seeking judicial order permanently sealing the records in the case. Many have already been sealed unto a resolutions by saying, quote, the parties reached an agreement to resolve the case on June 16th, 2022. That was written by Dabrowski, the lawyer, and the case had been slated to go to jury on July 11th, but McMahon's lawyer, Jerry McDevitt, does not oppose the motion. So that is the latest. Looks like we're not going to get a nasty court battle, but I'm wondering how much he settled for and what are the terms. I want to know the deets.
Jeremy, you know the sports world. Oliver Luck didn't leave this with nothing.
Well, I thought the Sports Journal said that it was a $24 million settlement.
Well, it was a $24
that isn't abundantly
compensation.
clear.
Oh,
He
okay.
was looking for $24 million in compensation after he got
Doesn't
fired.
mean he got
but
it.
There's no details on how much the compensation was after the settlement.
Let me tell you this. After the week that Vince has had, I think he's pretty happy to get this one behind him, considering he's got a lot more bigger fish to fry.
True.
Yeah, I think another just a little bit of weight might have been lifted off of his shoulders. You know, it's like one less distraction.
Yeah.
So there, people asking us, is there any update on the Vince McMahon story and the Vince McMahon investigation? At this time, no. There is no update on it. Obviously, it was pretty controversial that the same day they announced he's stepping down from the board temporarily, and Stephanie McMahon, his daughter, is going to assume another role. That this would happen, that he would appear on SmackDown and make a big appearance and kind of move the needle for SmackDown with the controversy and the scandal. And we haven't heard anything else. Now, mind you, these investigations are going to take a very, very long time. We may not hear about this until maybe even sometime early next year, or possibly even not even until the fall at the earliest. So this isn't something where you're going to know about this right away. Also, it's worth noting there's no legal people being brought in. This is an internal investigation with WWE hiring a third party to come in and do it. So that's the above board part. I will say I did like the comments of Jimmy Smith. He is the lead play-by-play commentator for Monday Night Raw, former UFC fighter, former UFC broadcaster, and has a weekday show on SiriusXM's Fight Nation. He was pretty civil about it, and he said this is really an examination of WWE's executive structure, which he's not directly a part of. He sits on a different part of the table, as he put it, when he's having his production meetings, and this will be an examination into that. And he was kind of civil about that. I'm not applauding WWE by any means, because I do think they're responding to this the best way they can. They're doing it as transparently as possible, as much as you can, because obviously there's going to be some stuff we don't know about how this investigation goes down, how they get information, who speaks to them, who gave them that information, who leaked this information, because this was already an NDA. We had some unreputable websites claiming they knew who leaked this information and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're not going to run with that. I think it's really also that's journalistically unethical to do that if someone didn't agree to have their name disclosed. So to do that is really, really unethical. And that's a question of somebody reporting it. So there's going to be a lot of information and a lot of rumors and a lot of hearsay, but there's a difference between speculation, assumptions, what you think it could be, and what it actually is. And we need to tell fans that a lot, because we are like you guys. We want to know what's going to happen. Is Vince McMahon going to be a part of the WWE still? Is Stephanie going to run the company? And all these different things. So there's a bunch of rumors going everywhere. Just slow your roll with that, everybody. I think that needs to be important.
And like what Pat McAfee said, he knows absolutely nothing about this. And basically, what he says, he rolls in, doesn't really, talk with a lot of people when he gets there on a Friday. Basically he basically does his radio show and then takes his private jet out to wherever SmackDown's going to be, lands about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours before the show, So, Jimmy Smith doesn't know. He's been there probably a little longer. So, those guys, they don't know. They're kind of in the dark. And, it's not really a big surprise that they are, because this is kind of more of a corporate type of deal than it is.
Yeah. Jeremy fell. He completely fell.
I'm about out of beer, so I'm losing it.
But to your point, Jeremy, just because someone works in the WWE doesn't mean that they're going to have or know any information at all. For example, I know plenty of close friends who are producers in WWE. Every time I would text or call, what's going on with this? They don't know. They really don't know. So when you mention, some non-reputable sites reporting this or that about this case, I'm going to call bullshit, because they probably don't know. They're just pulling out information out of their ass.
I mean, you can ask people that work within the company what they think of it. As I said last week, I talked to people who used to work in the company and had an intimate knowledge of working with people related to the matter, and they were upset about it, and they were upset with how it was handled outside of Stephanie McMahon being brought in. And outside of, Vince McMahon stepping onto the executive board, they thought everything else was kind of like, what's going on here? They liked those moves. So, I mean, a response to a crisis like this, they're doing some things right, and other things kind of make you scratch your head.
Yeah, and Pat McAfee's probably one of the most straight shooters you're going to see in the world of wrestling or in sports, and he's going to tell it straight. And he says he has had absolutely zero information in regards to this, and I bet you that is probably the same for those more established people that are there more often than Pat. So, it's probably not a surprise to believe that they were in the dark on this.
So let's see what the numbers are to this. Everyone wants to know, what is the actual measured response as Jeremy closes out a beer there.
I need another one. Should I bring you guys into the bar?
I don't care about ratings.
The bar?
I'll tell you, the rating of this beer is a 1.5.
I'm going to bring you guys into the bar. How about that?
Yes, please do.
Mute me.
Mute him. I don't want to hear his credit card number on the show. So let's see the numbers of how this played out. Vince McMahon appearing in the opening segment of SmackDown on network television on Fox. That was announced on Friday as this news came out that he was stepping down from the board. WWE getting a lot of press, a lot of extra attention outside of the usual wrestling bubble, and that was reflected in the overnight ratings, in the confirmed ratings, as SmackDown scored its highest overnight viewership. And that's just overnight viewership. That's not Hulu, that's not on demand, that's not DVR, that's not outside of the United States. It performed its highest overnight rating in over a year. That includes the build to WrestleMania and Royal Rumble. That includes shows with major matches on it. Now, the show was headlined by Roman Reigns versus Matt Riddle in a very, very great world title match. It was great to see Roman Reigns on the show. But obviously, Vince McMahon, the scandal, that may have been the draw to get people through the door, but kept them watching until the end. Very great number in the second hour, kind of an increased audience. And for network television, this is a really, really strong number as well. 2.2 to 2.4 million people is the estimated overnight viewership. And that number grows after about 3 days.
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics is reporting that SmackDown brought in 2.290 million viewers on Fox. This is up from 1.914 that they did a week ago. They pulled a 0.57 rating in the key demo of 18 to 49, which is up from 0.44 and the demo rating 1 week ago. The show did feature and was headlined by Roman Reigns and Riddle. And then with that very awkward opening of Vince McMahon saying, the slogan, the past, the present, and future, and together. And, I don't know what that was all about, but everybody was not happy about that opening segment when this went out. But yet the ratings are there. But I'm going to say that Roman was the one that pulled the ratings, not Vince McMahon.
Yeah, because that hour 2 was so much considerably higher than hour 1, and the fact that we knew this was going to be the match about a week ahead of time. So I think Roman's one of the main reasons for that. Now, I haven't seen the quarter hour ratings. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen those yet, since I had to take off. But the quarter hour rating might tell the story too, if Vince drove it or not. But I think the credit goes to Roman for this number pop.
He hasn't been on TV.
I think it's a combination of both.
So
yeah.
Oh my God! Speaking of the other side of the spectrum, did you see that Rampage rating? Ow!
How bad?
Under 400.
See, then maybe you have people that were just wrestled out for the evening. They saw Roman, they saw Riddle, they didn't need to see any more.
I think it was in the 3:30s.
Oh,
Like second
really
week
bad.
ever. And this was on the regular Friday time slot too.
Yeah,
That's a Facebook live stream.
Ow. Hey.
Your numbers, pal.
Hey, I do think it's just the problem of being on so late on a Friday night. I really do.
It's
I
a
don't
terrible
think,
time
It's
slot.
a shitty time. It's a shitty time slot for anything.
Yeah, absolutely. They got to consider a move there. Maybe they do the thing where they go on Tuesday nights. We're going to come back for you, XT. We didn't beat you up. We did have some sad news over the weekend. We did have some very unfortunate news. Tim White, longtime referee and official for WWE, unfortunately passing away. And we don't understand the terms of his passing, but obviously someone who had a very, very long and historic career with WWE throughout the 80s when he was the handler for the infamous Andre the Giant. And then had a role in some of the biggest main events of WWE during the Attitude Era. Unfortunately, suffering an injury in the ring in 2002, and then coming back to the ring and then suffering another injury that would keep him out of the ring for the rest of his life. He did perform on television, did do many, many things for WWE, and remain with the company for a very, very long time. But a beloved figure within WWE, a guy that many people said was just an instant friend to anyone in the locker room. And so one of those guys that you grow up, you see him on TV, and if WWE's a restaurant, he's always there. If you come there and you would have your meal of wrestling, he was always a part of serving that meal up to you. And there were other people that are part of the process of WWE that as we grow older, so these people grow older. And it's an unfortunate part of life is you lose people you care about that make an impression on you. Tim White's one of those guys that did for a lot of people in the wrestling business. Very widely respected too, especially when you saw the outpouring of report. We see here Eric Bischoff saying such sweet things about him. Numerous other people, Michael P.S. Hayes, just tons of different people saying how much they appreciated working and spending time with him. It's worth noting the men and women in WWE, men and women in these national touring companies that have that television presence, they're on the road so much with each other and spend so much significant time with each other. And it becomes kind of this second family. And you develop these bonds that are very, very real. Jim Ross saying, I can't believe we lost both Dave Hebner and now the equally talented Tim White, two outstanding humans who are committed to pro wrestling. Absolutely true. Obviously, Dave Hebner getting a great tribute from his son and brother on the Slammiversary pay-per-view, which I thought was a very, very wonderful moment for them to share. Mick Foley saying, I'm very sorry to learn of Tim White's passing. He was the referee for so many of my big matches. And more importantly, was one of the nicest and most well-liked members of the WWE family. And it's worth noting, there was never a bad story about him. There was never like, oh, he ruffled someone the wrong way or something like that. And that happens. Beloved guys have that happen to them all the time. But this is a very, very sweet, sweet guy who is a part of just a big times for WWE. The peak of rock and wrestling in the 80s, the struggle in the 90s with the new generation, the going over on WCW. He was in the, the war pit with WWE there. He was in the trenches with them in that fight and got to go through all of that. I remember him having a big role in the way that WWE did their meet and greets after his in-ring career was done. He was still deeply involved in getting wrestlers to and from each town, and here's where you had to be coordinating. And that was a great role to continue to have outside of the ring, even after suffering injuries in the ring as a referee. So just a great career, a great guy, and a sad loss indeed.
Yeah, man. It's I remember watching Tim White back in the Attitude Era when I was a kid. Everything. And you guys see the outpour of support and memories that he's seen. You see all the tweets here from from Matt Hardy to Michael P.S. Hayes, William Regal. So he definitely had a big effect on the wrestling world, on the wrestling business. And when you're a good human being, people can tell and will write great things about you, as you can see what the wrestling world has done here today with good old Tim White. What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, when a referee is special when he's involved in storylines and a lot of other things, and Tim White was involved in some of those things down the line, and you could just see, even while he was still with us, you could see how beloved he was and how much he meant to so many people. And now you're going to see it even more with the unfortunate news of his passing. But it's one of those where he's one of those referees that had that personality where you could throw him into a story and it would work. And they did that a few times with him.
Of course, he also owned the bar that we saw these different brawling matches at. These were done a handful of times throughout the Attitude Era, and they're usually done with the APA.
Yeah.
Where they would have a fight in a bar with another tag team.
Now,
There was
in the years that I've been following and reporting wrestling, I never knew that Tim White was the owner of these bars during those sketches. That's awesome.
And they would ruin the bar, like literally ruin the bar, rip TVs off the wall, everything.
Big shit everywhere.
Makes me wonder who owned the supermarket during the Booker T and Stone Cold brawl.
I
Was
heard
that a WWE employee too?
I heard WWE paid like 5 figures to that supermarket for everything.
Yes. So and the same thing would happen to Tim White's bar, and they would wreck it, and he'd just get them to remodel the bar for him.
Oh man, I love those APA segments.
They were great. Yeah, free makeover for Timmy's bar, absolutely. So definitely have a drink on him and drink to his honor and the great impressions and great things he did over the years and for his family and friends as well. Thank you guys so much for checking out everything with Sportskeeda. We got a lot of cool projects coming up in the way. Jose G, I know you got a fresh one in the pocket, don't you?
I do, man. I just wrapped up an awesome interview that I'm going to be dropping on my brand new show called Wrestling with Mindset. That's going to be dropping later this week. So make sure you guys follow me on my social media, Jose G Official, my Twitter, Instagram, on TikTok. I'm going to be dropping little teasers and snippets of the interviews. So go ahead and check it out. Jose G Official and Wrestling with Mindset.
Jeremy, you're busy tonight. People should follow you on the Twitter machine at JB Huskers and follow SK Wrestling _. You'll have all the different things, the in-fan perspective from in the arena for Monday at Raw tonight. Maybe some cool angles getting set up for Money in the Bank just a few weeks ago, and John Cena on the show next week. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm in the lower bowl. Literally seat 1, so I'm as close to the ramp as you can be in the lower bowl. My phone is dying rapidly being on Top Story, so I'm going to shut her off after this and turn her back on right in time for Top Story. Maybe take a snap of the stage and the ring, and then send them to the boys, and then turn the phone off for a minute. But yeah, follow me on socials. I will try to be on as much as I can until the phone dies. Catch me on the socials. I'll try to live tweet as best I can tonight. Should be a good show. Great. I hear the women are main eventing for that Money in the Bank spot, so that's going to be a good one there. Then I'm going to have a couple more beers with some friends afterwards and try to get home early with work in the morning. We'll see how that goes. Then catch Jose and myself Wednesday after Dynamite. We got the Twitch show. We'll be continuing our GM mode. We are progressing towards WWE TLC. We've hired some legends. We've hired some guns, and we're going to have a little bit of some legend infusion into the TLC pay-per-view. So it should be interesting to see how that shapes up going into that pay-per-view.
It will certainly be interesting to see how that plays out. Definitely check that out. Our Twitch channel is brand new. We're going to be doing some watch-alongs with it this week. Likely, we haven't decided. Possibly Thursday is what we're looking at. We're going to do a Money in the Bank classic watch-along. Right? And so for the Top Story people who watch Top Story with us, we love you diehards. We're trying to grow that Twitch channel where we can do long things where we're just kind of like riffing and we're drinking, we're having beers, and it's just a hang of a stream that you can do. So we're going to do some different things over there. Go ahead and subscribe to it. Also, if you haven't done so, subscribe to our YouTube. We're nearing 31,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. I'm going to be pretty busy. I have comedy shows coming up at the beginning of July, and tomorrow I'll be performing at Shuba's Rock Club, where bands like Dave Matthews Band and 21 Pilots have performed, and somehow I'm performing. That's going on tomorrow. You can get tickets. The link is up on my Twitter at Kev Kellam. At Kev Kellam, and that is in Chicago, Illinois. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Remember, share the link or you stink. Tag your wrestling buddies. There's so many choices for wrestling media, but you've chosen us. And I say when you're watching wrestling, you should just calm down and do this very important thing, which is what, Jose?
You need to take a deep breath, let it all out, and just remember when you're watching Elias tonight and you're singing along, just remember to enjoy it. Enjoy wrestling.
Isn't that right?
Yeah. Bartender, one more beer.
What? Max?
What?
Watch out, watch out,